everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress, of a podcast about movies, TV shows, video games, and lots of pop culture nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me per usual are everyone. Look at that. We got a full Fourtress today. We got Alex, the Brawn / the Dad, Brian, the Beer / New Reliable / the Spider-Man villain, Mr. Negative on a Dragon Ball Z redemption arc, and Devin, known as the Brains and Mr. Nowhere. Everyone is here today.
What's up?
Yo.
Guys, I must say, I love you all. But y'all are seriously cutting into my Final Fantasy VII time right now. No, I'm so happy to see you guys. I got energy for once in my life right now, and I'm feeling good. We got a lot to talk about, but before we hop into our first segment, how y'all doing?
Doing well. I mean, I'm doing okay. Let me not say well. Let me not lie.
Don't lie to the viewers.
Live on the dream. Spring Forward fucked me up, but it's okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
right? I had no idea. Nobody told me.
You lost a whole hour.
Nobody told me, but I'm glad someone did because I would have been upset.
Wait,
the next day.
So now it gets dark later.
Yeah, we get more sun.
It also gets light
It's
earlier
a good thing.
as well.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
But
More sun is good.
Here's my question though: how does it go from getting dark at 6 and being light in the morning to now being light on both ends? Instantly.
No, it's dark
That's
in
what I
the
never
morning
understand.
now.
I guess it depends on what time you wake up in the morning. For me, it's usually still light in the morning and also light in the evening. But if you wake up at like 6:30, it's probably dark.
It's dark as fuck.
Whereas it would have been probably sunny 2 weeks ago.
I always thought it was adding light on both ends somehow, and that just doesn't seem like it makes sense.
My father notoriously hates this time of year because he's usually up at like 3-4 a.m. and it is pitch fucking black inside. He fucking hates this shit. But everyone else is like, yay, we get the sun until like 7:30 now.
I was about to say, as a summer motherfucker, I'm finally I'm healed. I'm better.
Yeah.
Right? I'm back. I'm back.
So
I'm ready.
We're in daylight savings now, or we're not? Or
no, we just saved the daylight. Now we're back to normal time.
We're in normal time.
Yeah,
this is the one we should keep just year round. We should.
This is the one we should keep.
I think so.
That's what we're fighting for, but it's okay. We can get to that later.
Just don't do the daylight savings. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
We'll do a mini-sode about this topic later.
It's very important to me.
All right, but with that, guys, we got a lot to talk about. You listeners, as usual, check the time codes if you want to avoid spoilers or jump to sections or anything like that. It's all down there in the show notes. But with that, guys, let's hop into our first segment of the week.
News talk. Yeah. It's not happy.
First piece of news. Let's talk about some Warner Brothers stuff. A lot of this news, once again, we're in sad hour, like Devin said last week. Some happy stuff, but mostly just sadness. Let's start with Warner Brothers, because what the fuck are they doing? This is man. This is Warner Brothers talked about this. Apparently, they're just doubling down on some live service games, even after that Suicide Squad game fucking bombed. They just, what are they? I don't understand it.
Who's in
Nobody
charge over there?
wants this.
I can tell you exactly what they're doing. Video games are expensive. Investors invest in video games. Investors want Fortnite. So as long as investors want Fortnite, we're gonna keep trying to make fucking Fortnite. The issue is nobody can make Fortnite except for Fortnite. So
did they do any kind of market testing? Like, let's just talk to like a 12-year-old child and just tell them our idea and see if they even give it the light of day. Because I bet most 12-year-olds would be like, nah.
Excuse me, little Timmy, would you steal your mom's credit card for this game? And they're like, nah, I don't need it. And then they're like, fuck, we fucked up. Let's go back to the drawing board.
Put little Timmy in front of the suits because like these are bad ideas, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is really crazy.
It's got to die eventually. That's the biggest thing about it. And that's what kind of makes me sad. Is I hate that it's taken so long for this to just fucking die out. So many games have flopped at this point.
For real. Just let it go. Let it go. You're not going to do it. It's fine. Just let it go.
Keep trying.
They're wasting more resources in making these games and then canceling them halfway through.
Probably. They can just make a decent game.
They can make an actual good game.
Maybe it'll sell. And so the funniest thing about me is Warner Brothers made Hogwarts Legacy, which was the highest selling game of 2023. Like, and that's a one and done. And there's no live service. So it's like, you know what makes a good game. Why do you hate it?
God. It's real annoying. It's real annoying.
Smells like suits.
We'll see. What's the next property they could try to turn into a live service? WB. You know what? It's gonna be a Lord of the Rings game. I just figured it out. It's gonna be a Lord of the Rings game.
I mean, they've already tried a couple. You saw how those are going.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yep.
I wouldn't hate it.
Look, see, that's exactly why. Because a motherfucker like Devin, that little smirk
funny.
Devin just had, that's all they're taking from this lesson. Like, look at that. Little Timmy smiled.
Like, I don't want to run around Moria with a bunch of dwarves. I don't want to be Gollum. Why the fuck did you approve that? Like, the Shadow of War games were kind of cool, except for the whole weird moral issue of like, do these orcs, are they sentient? I don't know. That's kind of weird. So like, I don't know. There's more to explore in Lord of the Rings, but just don't make one of the weird ones.
There is.
He said, "I'm not done yet.
Yeah, just
I can swing my sword."
Yeah, just remake Return of the King. Just give it a nice
remake those games, man. Oh,
that is where you make the money. Nostalgia.
True.
Absolutely, do it. Speaking of more WB news, we'll just keep going. This is a weird one. This just happened. Remember that game MultiVersus that was a game that existed like last year, and then at some point they were like, you know what? We failed. We're gonna shut it down. No one's getting their money back for any of this shit they bought. Well, apparently it's back. Coming May 28th. It's coming out. What the fuck?
So to be fair, they just put it on ice, quote unquote, indefinitely while they work on the game.
Which usually means forever.
Yes, but they were kind of like, this was a beta the whole time. They didn't introduce the game as a beta. They introduced it as a full game, which is so fucking hilarious.
And people were like, oh, it's the beta.
Yep, there's a battle pass.
It was like the reverse Fortnite.
Yep, there's a battle pass and everything. And they were like, oh, yeah, actually, this is a beta. And then they took the game off the shelves, and everyone was like, I spent real money on this. Am I going to get that back? And they're like, fuck you. I'm happy it didn't take very long for them to get back to it. That being said, I still think this game is probably past its prime. And I don't know. And maybe I could be wrong. I want to be wrong because I think there should be more games like this with like
I hope it's a win. I hope it's good. I mean,
I hope so too. I wonder if I'm assuming it's still gonna be free.
I think it had. Well, we saw Disney Dreamlight Valley. I'm not sure. So
I don't know. It might. I don't know.
I'd like to.
It might be like now it's actually out, so you got to pay for it.
Right. And that's the thing.
Who knows?
It's another one of those games that I feel like it's like one of those month games that are like really great for a month and disappears, and they've already passed that point. So I don't think anyone's caring about this, but we'll see.
Maybe this is their strategy, though. Maybe they want that month every year. They'll get we'll get a month's worth of money, shut that shit down.
It's going.
We'll come back in a year.
Disney Vault.
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea. A lot of games do that, especially live service games. They just we release new content today, baby. So you got that 30-day cycle, and then you're back to being no one cares.
We figured it out. We're on to you guys, WB.
All right, moving on. Netflix. We haven't talked about the show yet, but I said a little bit of my thoughts. But they did confirm Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live action show, is getting seasons 2 and 3, which means in theory we'll actually get to see a series finish on Netflix for the first time ever, I think, before it got canceled. Kind of exciting. I know. I mean, my thoughts after that first season were, there were some pretty cool highs, some pretty lukewarm lows, not even lows, just kind of fine. But Brian did say he had something to say. Well, so
I have a question. I've seen one episode so far, and I hope we do talk about this at some point, maybe next week. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it get better?
Oh
no! If you've seen episode 1, that's basically the bar.
I would say no. If that's what you say after 1, probably not for you.
It's pretty boring. It's pretty fucking boring. I think that some of the actors do really well. I think some of the actors do really not, and I think the writing is very flat.
Oh yeah.
I think it gives me Star Wars vibes. They're like, these people might be good actors, but they were just given shit for direction. Because even the delivery of lines is like, ooh, they didn't try with that one.
Okay, but I think not to talk about the series yet, but I do think like I enjoyed it more when I was like, listen, think about it. Like voice actors are adults that like are really, really good at their craft. And then these are real child actors that are like just starting to find their way. So like,
how old are these people?
Well,
These people
let's
probably
also
in their
think about
20s.
the fact that children, I'm pretty sure they were child actors when they voiced that cartoon. Though I'm just saying.
Yeah,
true. I mean,
those weren't adults.
The problem with this series overall is that the original is so perfect that it's like, why even try? And that's why, like, the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, I kind of just want to go watch the real one.
And that's how I'm feeling. It's like I was scared Last of Us was going to do that for me, and it didn't do that. But this is very much being like, I just want to turn this off and watch the actual TV show. It's way better. So that's I don't know. I'm still going to finish it, and we'll see how I feel at the end. But yeah, so far I'm kind of like, ooh.
Better adaptation than a lot of other ones.
I'm about to say, Devin, you actually liked it. I think out of the three of us who have seen any of it, I think you liked it the most.
I think some of the fight choreography is good, but I think it's worth.
That is
finishing the
where
story. Like
they're doing well.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think the fight choreography is cool, and like actually seeing. I think the really cool thing is like getting some more context. So like doing what a true adaptation should do, like filling in some scenes that weren't in the original that would fit with the original instead of making your own story.
They showed the end of the air temple, which was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect example. Like fleshing out the world a little bit more. And I think that's really cool. So that's the kind of thing I'm in for, and feels like they've done that well. So, do 2 and 3. Why not? It's a low commitment, 2-3 seasons, 3 seasons total when you're done.
I just think there's still some weird things pacing and just story-wise that they changed in this first season that I was like, why?
Why that man
only
fly
because I
without
was like, it
a...
didn't add anything.
They got to jam it into 8 episodes. So.
Why he fly without a glider?
No, they don't, because you know how many episodes were in that first season? Like 20.
Well, right.
Which means they own, in theory, and they're each half hour.
There's 20 episodes?
In the cartoon.
No. In the cartoon, there's only 20 episodes in the cartoon, which are each half hour. So that's in 10 hour-long episodes?
Yeah,
so in theory, they only had to cram 2 more episodes into this 8-episode season, and they still didn't do that.
And got some
they still
comedic
made time to do some other shit.
Got comedic value in it and everything. They could have made something good. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it. Right now,
the worst part for me, man.
I
think they casted him how he looks rather than comedic timing. I think they should have gone for a guy that actually has comedic timing.
I was thinking about that so hard, and we'll get into it when we actually talk about the show. But I was kind of like, damn, I almost wanted to get on the set and be like, let me do it. When I heard him talk sometimes, like, I know how he should sound. Like, let me do it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Sokka had some funny lines for me. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll talk more about that when we actually talk about it. Yeah,
I'm excited to see it. I don't really have a bar. It's just non-existent. So,
which I think is good.
That's probably.
I had a bar, and it was just get better than the Shyamalan movie, which it was. I cleared that for me.
First scene, I was like, "Yep."
Always have that. It'll always have that.
Yeah.
I saw the first wig, and I was like, "Yep."
I mean, that they were looking at all of the memes and stuff about like that.
Oh yeah,
that movie, and they're like, okay, let's just not,
not do that.
Like,
and yet somehow they still did some of that later. But we'll talk about it. Anyways, season 2 and 3, that's exciting. Very cool of you, Netflix. Please don't fuck it up. But it also might mean we get Korra after that. Who knows? Do we want Korra though? I don't know. Depends how 2 and 3 go.
Love Legend of Korra. Anyway.
Yeah. Next piece of news, real quick. But now we're getting to sad stuff again. Rooster Teeth, which is a giant popular YouTube channel, now giant production company. I don't know, whatever. Been around for 21 years, basically. Warner Brothers said, "Fuck that, you're done."
Warner Brothers again, baby.
Yeah, they back. That WB, baby.
R.I.P.
I most knew them, of course, from Red vs. Blue, the machinima, the Halo series, which I didn't like that whole much, but I know a lot of people were super into that. And then, of course, the YouTube channel called Funhouse, which I bet a lot of people probably don't know about because they weren't super popular, but they were, of course, under that organization. And all those people just fucking lose their jobs again, which is sad because most of those people worked for Machinima back when that was a conglomerate that existed. It was the other only big production company I knew on YouTube before this. It's fucking sad, dude.
It's crazy how you see this pattern where a YouTube channel gets big, then they get bought by a bigger company, and then they go under in like 5 years.
And that was the thing. Is like I never really
that happens.
Understood how big Rooster Teeth was until I found out they were doing whole conventions of just themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not like a PAX or a Dream Hack or something like that. It's like it's just for people that like Rooster Teeth. And it's like they make like YouTube channels like Achievement Hunter and Red vs. Blue, and they got some podcasts and stuff like that. But it wasn't anything that I think was big enough to like draw in enough crowd to fill like something like that. So I don't know.
No, I did have a lot of fond memories from a lot of those different channels way back, mostly like from like probably like a decade, more than a decade ago maybe. And then obviously like Brian said, I also watched Funhouse around the same time as well. Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. I do hope those people land on their feet.
That's my biggest thing.
And continue to be creative.
It sucks in places where like talent is so big, like such an important part of your job. Like you know, if you're working for like an accountant job or something, you might not be the most talented accountant, but like when you're doing a creative job, like these people are some of the best of their craft. We talk about the same thing with devs and stuff like that in gaming. So seeing those people lose their jobs is like, well, fuck, like they're really good at what they do and they still don't have a job. So yeah, we'll see what happens with those people. Fuck Warner Brothers. That's not nice, but also kind of.
I mean, yeah,
just fuck Big
David
Core,
Zaslav, who's cutting everything. Yeah, you fucking up. You fucking
smells like
strip
suits.
mining the company.
Yeah.
For all we know, it's not gonna be WB anymore. It's gonna be like Discovery Plus or some shit. I don't know. Anyways, moving on to more sad news. R.I.P. to Akira Toriyama, the creator, obviously, of Dragon Ball. 68 years old, which is
Vegeta
way
crying
too
in the
young.
rain. Or Vegeta just standing in the rain, looking at the sky.
Oh,
I obviously, out of the four of us, have no connection to Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. Really, I didn't really.
Oh, for real?
Obviously,
I didn't know that.
No, yeah, I know. I kind of missed the boat as a kid, and then once I got older, like I've told, it was kind of with. I can't remember the example I was gonna make. So it doesn't matter. But it's just like a thing where it got too big to the point where I was like, I don't even know where to fucking start.
Yeah.
So I just kind of gave the fuck up.
I'm in the same boat. I don't have a direct connection, but I like appreciate.
Oh, really?
Seeing some scenes and stuff, but yeah, I never watched from start to finish.
Yeah. So obviously, I've seen like bits and pieces, and I know the gist. I get it. You scream a lot. You turn blue or yellow, and
it's more than that. It's about love, and it's so funny because the Latino community loves Dragon Ball.
They sure
to
do.
The point that, and we were talking about this a little bit. Obviously,
I feel like the majority, like every brown community, like
it's a lot of
people of color loves Dragon Ball, and they love Akira Toriyama, and that's really great. But yeah, it got to the point that the Mexican cartel started a ceasefire in respect of Akira Toriyama, and like that's not a joke. Like that, it really actually happened. Yeah, where they respect it so much.
Also, what was the other thing? Shout out to my half El Salvadorian government. Didn't they like salute them on Twitter or some shit like that?
A lot of governments like actually like recognize his death as like a day of mourning.
That's crazy.
Which was really crazy.
I think the Chinese government made a statement. Japan's government, governments, national governments are making statements about
and that's how big of an impact
that is amazing. Not just like a group of people, but the government. Paying respect.
But I mean, like, Dragon
Ball
Ball
Z? Not for one person, not for like a group of people. One dude is insane. That's nuts. Like what?
But, like, Dragon Ball Z is the anime.
Yeah,
that's kind of the biggest thing about it is I don't think anime would be where it is right now if it wasn't for Akira Toriyama. And I don't know that he gets enough credit for that. But it's like it's a lot of people's. It was my first anime that I ever finished. And it's due to Toonami and watching it as a kid during that to the point where like I had on VHS like Gohan turning Super Saiyan for the first time. Like me and my brother recorded that on TV, so it had like a very like direct impact on me because that was like what kind of got me into art a lot. I used to try to draw Super Saiyan characters as a kid and things like that, all the way into like it's influenced millions of children probably.
Do we want to say that's where anime hair came from?
I wouldn't say necessarily, but I would say that like some of the bigger hair and definitely glowing, like so much anime references. The same way that like a lot of anime references Akira, a lot of anime references Dragon Ball Z. Even stuff that comes out now, like Solo Leveling's a new manga that's turned into an anime recently, and it still references a decent bit of like Dragon Ball. Codename Kids Next Door did it. Amazing World of Gumball references Dragon Ball. Like random cartoons that aren't even anime reference this. Movies, real live action movies reference Dragon Ball. Fucking Creed 3 references Dragon Ball.
I mean, Michael B. Jordan loves some anime.
Yeah,
so,
fucking Black Panther. His whole suit is Vegeta's suit. Like,
Killmonger, absolutely. Yeah. Again, just 68, way too young. But this goes back to just like apparently just how badly, mainly like anime and manga creators are just
work culture,
worked literally to death. Like just worked to the bone. And yes, I honestly I expected him to be like 87.
Yeah,
like 95.
What's crazy is
68 is
the voice actor of Goku, the Japanese voice actor of Goku, almost has 30 years on him and is still alive.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. That's nuts. Yeah, just sad. Very sad. But like obviously, like, man, no one's gonna forget this dude. Like, holy shit, man. I mean, I remember Brian has some fucking stickers on his car. I don't know if they're still there. He's definitely got some Dragon Ball stickers on that car. Yeah.
Thank you for your contribution to humanity, sir.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Absolutely. Thank you for the Kamehameha. Thank you for having everyone power up and scream. Thank you for making Goku a bad dad. Those are the only memes I know.
Goku's a good dad.
He is not.
He just wants to hang out with his kid.
He's a terrible dad. He literally doesn't want to hang out with his kid. He wants to train.
He wants to take him to work. What are you talking about?
He didn't even meet Goten until that man was like 7 because he was dead.
Okay, that's true.
So fun. But it did make me want to go and maybe start. But I might have to get some advice on where the fuck I got.
You should watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. It takes out all the filler, except for there's one filler arc that I think is really good because it introduces a cool character. But
Dragon Ball Z Kai. I might actually do that.
Yeah, it's the remade version to make it a little bit shorter.
Oh, nice.
That's about
Very
half.
Cool. Yeah, because honestly, I didn't even know shit was over. Like you said you finished it. I didn't know that shit was done.
Yeah,
I thought it was like One Piece.
Z is over, but now they're Super.
Yeah, and Super
right.
hasn't come back yet, and they're making one called Daima that's coming out recently. That actually Akira Toriyama had a lot of hand in, which is kind of sad as well, because that was kind of his like passion project recently. Because he has understudies. A lot of mangaka have understudies that like start doing the work to kind of help them out.
Bummer. But yeah, man, just what a legacy. Rest in peace. Going out. Alrighty. Next quick piece of news. The Oscars happened. Oppenheimer won a bunch of shit. Barbie won one award. Which, I mean, also awards, who gives a fuck? But I'll just say, I didn't watch. I skimmed through. I mostly just wanted to watch the I'm Just Ken performance, which was thrilling. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I thought Ryan Gosling clearly having fun. Like you could tell he's like laughing as the performance is happening because he can't believe what's going on in his life at that moment. I still think that a movie that song should have won Best Song. Who remembers what that Billie Eilish song was in that movie? No offense to that song or Billie Eilish, but no one remembers. I don't remember.
I don't know what you were talking about, to be completely honest with you.
But everyone remembers that fucking Ken song. Like, come on. Just, you cowards. They'll never give it to a song that's funny.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
It's just a fucking parade.
Yeah.
They had a dog clapping from another movie. They gave him hands.
They did.
They had a dog sit in a seat for the whole fucking show, which was kind of disrespectful to me.
Pretty weird. And Slash was in the I'm Just Ken performance.
He sure was. It was really good. I knew we really saw when he got the nomination, he was kind of afraid because he was like, oh shit, I gotta fucking perform this.
Yeah.
But I think
because he wussed out of when he got nominated for La La Land, he didn't do it. I was like, you bitch. But he actually did this one, and it was very fun.
And it was phenomenal.
It was really good. It just, again, all of them there, even the fucking Simu Liu was there. They're all dancing and shit. It was like a performance, and clearly like the highlight of the night. I was like, yeah.
They put a lot of effort.
Some of they got the original guys, the other Kens too, right?
Mm-hmm. They sure did.
Yeah.
Nice.
They got them all in there. It was pretty cool. It was pretty dope.
That had to be the funnest thing to shoot, I think.
For sure.
Oh my god!
Up there in cinematic history, funnest sets to be on would be.
He was acting up. Scene. He was like fucking touching the chins of like the fucking camera guy, and he was being a whole ass, and it was great.
Having a ball. Clearly wearing sunglasses so that no one could see his eyes.
Yes.
I'd be like, I can't take this seriously, please. I can't look at anybody. I need to be in darkness.
I know he was nervous. You could feel it. There was some nervousness there.
But good for them. Fun movie. Anyways. Guys, news is running long, so let's quickly hop to the trailer park. Brian, let's go.
Mom's Spaghetti.
Okay.
Talking about Fallout. New trailer for the Fallout show, which I didn't know this. They're releasing all the episodes at once, which I kind of hate because I don't want to fucking watch them all that fast. But I'm not going to lie, this trailer made me excited for it, unlike the first one, which I thought was a little lukewarm. This one looks good.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Fallout 5.
I like the female lead. That's a nice choice.
My biggest thing is it looks like Fallout. I don't feel like the last trailer really felt like Fallout. This one is definitely giving me the actual vibes. So I'm excited. I'm a Fallout fan. I haven't played all the games, but I played a decent chunk of them, and I kind of love the world and the zaniness and the weirdness. So I hope they're able to kind of bring that to the space. Like the propaganda of it all is kind of interesting. As long as it hits those vibes and it's funny to a certain extent, please don't make it too serious. It doesn't seem like they're going to.
Yeah, it still needs to be a little wacky. Yeah.
I'm glad there's no green tint to it like Fallout 3.
What city does this one take place in?
Looks like LA.
Oh, that's
funny.
I
see a Hollywood Boulevard sign. So I think, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know what Fallout 1 and 2 were like, because obviously they're completely different games. But is this the first Fallout game that's in the West Coast like that, or
that's cute.
LA?
I mean, there was New Vegas, which it gets to California,
right?
But,
that's true. Yeah. Which is cool, you know. I mean, that's it. I assume they're calling this like this is basically the next Fallout game. You know, we're gonna get a whole new story, cast of characters, and it should be cool.
Which I heard Todd Howard told them to keep some stuff out that they were planning on putting in Fallout 5, which I found interesting.
Yes.
So I was like,
which to me, I would imagine that's story based stuff.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna be putting no gameplay elements in this TV show. They're like, don't do that. We're gonna do that in Fallout 5.
Do you guys think there's gonna be a VAT system?
I wondered that
bit in the show.
There has to be. There's definitely gonna be at least one joke where it's like my Pip Boy helps me like aim a little bit better or something like that. I think.
Nah, fuck that. I want the everything to freeze. I want you to. I want someone to pinpoint the head and just go ding 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 ding, and then there we go.
Listen, they did it in Halo with the whole fucking shield and everything, so we might see it.
That's true. That's true.
I have to make the noises.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'm excited to see what like gamer Easter eggs there are in the show.
Well, we know there's going to be about 1 million little bobbleheads throughout the show.
Yes.
That's how you'll know that they really care about it, is if there's a few Easter eggs for you.
Yeah,
I mean, we already know dog meat's in there, so that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's low hanging fruit though.
Yeah.
I like the tone though. I like the tone, and it looks like we're gonna get some cool flashbacks to like the actual day the bombs fell with Homeboy's. I'm assuming the reason he turns into a ghoul. So I'm interested to see all that. You know, it looks pretty interesting. I'm in.
Wish they'd make him uglier, but I know that's hard.
Yeah, that's the only note I have for the ghouls. He looks too healthy.
There was one moment, and maybe this is why, because there was one moment in the trailer where he's talking. I was like, oh, his neck look a little fake.
Yeah.
The prosthetic look a little not
fake,
great.
Yeah.
There.
Fallout 3,
So,
Fallout 2 ghouls are just fucking hideous, and I love it. I want them to be, because that's the whole thing. There's like a racism towards them that they're like, oh, they're fucking disgusting. So that's what I want. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm still interested. I wasn't on board, and now I'm on board.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Me too. April something, I think.
April 11th, I believe it said.
11th?
Yeah.
Nice.
April 11th, around the corner. All episodes. Here we go. Don't know how many. Probably 8, but we'll see. All right. That's the trailer park, which means that is the news. Guys, we've done it. Shall we now move into our main topic of the week?
Let's do
Let's do it.
I'm going to step out. I got to go try and watch this movie if I can squeeze it in.
Alex is going to go sit in the desert for 3 hours.
He's sand walking.
All right, Alex, we will see you in a bit. Guys, obviously it's time for our main topic of the week. This time, though, we're trapped in another fortress. We've been in this fortress before. It's real sandy. It's real long. It's real something. Because we are in the fortress of...
My little baby sister is talking to me subliminally.
Oh man, yes, listeners, we are. If you didn't know what the hell we were talking about with that, we are in the fortress of Dune Part 2, the much anticipated sequel to Dune. In parentheses, Part 1, because they lied to us.
Arrakis Part 2.
Yeah. We're very quick, non-spoilery section for me. I'll very quickly go first. I probably like the movie the least out of all 3 of us, based on the little conversations we've had.
Unbelievable.
This is not to say I did not like the movie. I really liked the movie. Funny enough, I came into that movie with like no real expectations. Really, like I said in the past, I wasn't that excited. I was like, I feel weird not being that hyped for it. And I somehow, for some reason, I think my expectations still fucked up in me watching this movie. And I don't think it had anything to do with what was on the screen. I think it had everything to do with the source material. I think I had an idea as to what the source material was, and it was not that. And I think that fucked with me a little bit by the end of this movie, which we'll get into. But overall, I mean, obviously, it's much like the first one, an incredible just cinematic achievement in what they've done. Here with so many of the different things and everything. I will say this is a go to the theater movie. And I think that's a pro and a con, because I don't think people are going to feel the same way about this watching this at home. Yeah. It's just not made that way, which I think is slightly a negative, but also a positive. I'll obviously go to the theater. I love going to the theater to see it, but it's like, damn, I don't really want to watch this movie again. I'm not going to lie. There's nothing really captivated me enough to want to see this again, is what I'm saying. There's a couple scenes and moments in there where I was like, that was cool, but I don't know. We'll get into it. But I did really enjoy it. I thought all the performances are good. No one is bad. It's just interesting. Some of the things that happen in this movie and with the performances and everything. Yeah, that's pretty much for me. I mean, we'll get more into it, but yeah, I did thoroughly enjoy it. Go see this movie in the theaters. I also wish I had seen I didn't see the first one in theaters either. But I got to see this one in theaters, and I'm very happy that I did. But yeah, there we go. All right, Devin.
Oscar, you should know better. This is 2024, and well-balanced, just even opinions are not.
Let's just say I'm the Zendaya out of this, and you are very much the Javier Bardem. You are a believer without nothing can go wrong.
Call me Stilgar, man. Call me Stilgar. For me, yes, because we can only do hyperbole. It's either no, I'm just kidding. This was a great movie. It was, for me, I walked out of the theater thinking this was the best adaptation from a book, probably since either Lord of the Rings.
You literally texted
maybe
us
put
that,
it over Harry Potter for like how well it like captured the idea of the source material and kind of like streamlined it, Brian. I wonder if you'll agree, but like it kind of made it better than like the idea was presented in the book.
No, I don't know about all that, but
I think it was much better than the book, and it also changed a few plot points. The things that it did change were better than the way the book did it, aka Shawnee. But like, I don't know, for me, felt something, felt a lot of emotions. I was with him the whole time. Okay, well, I mean, I guess spoiler free at the moment, but yeah, just very, very well executed movie. They said it was unadaptable. They said it could be done. Definitely doing it in 2 parts helped to do like world building for the first one and then really bring it home in this one. I just thought it was fantastic, start to finish.
Yeah, I feel maybe not as highly praised as Devin does, but I still think it's a phenomenal movie. And I do think it probably will be one of the better movies that I'll see this year. And I can say that already only in March. Not to, I mean, it's not saying much because
what are we comparing to?
We're not going to get many movies as a whole, so that kind of sucks. But I just think that it was like a really good movie in the point. And it was just like you, Oscar, I came with almost no expectation. I liked the first movie, but I wasn't crazy about it. I was kind of like, okay, like I've seen this before. It's pretty mid-ass Star Wars, and obviously, Star Wars took a lot of liberty from this. But it's just kind of like, okay, I mean, I've seen sci-fi like this. We'll see what happens there. And then when this movie came out, I wasn't excited for it. I was kind of like, I'm gonna watch it almost out of obligation, and that's about it. And I came out fucking thrilled. I was on the edge of my seat, and a lot of stuff that happened to it, as far as the adaptation goes, without spoilers, is. I don't know that I love the fact that it was kind of streamlined, because I do think there's some deeper thought and deeper character development that kind of happens in some of the book that doesn't really get shown here, but I do think it does streamline to make it easier to digest for people that wouldn't read the books. But I guess Lord of the Rings probably did the same thing, and that Lord of the Rings is pretty dense, I guess is the best way to put it. So is like fucking Game of Thrones. It's very dense. Some people love that. Some people want to get really deep in there, and a lot of people don't, and just want to make it be like, I want to know why this character is this way. That's why, okay, let's move on. I do think this movie does a decent bit of that. Of like, you already kind of get it. So it's almost like I feel like I was at an advantage of reading the book because I already knew character influence and character, like, thought process of why these things were happening. Whereas like the movie, like if I hadn't done that, sometimes in the movie I might have been like, what the fuck? So that might have been a win for me. That maybe wasn't a win for other people. Maybe that's why I like it so much more. That maybe I wouldn't have liked it as much if I hadn't spent the time to read the book. So
yeah, I think reading the book is definitely a huge part of maybe why I differ with Oscar a little bit, because like you can see in the early stages of this one and the first one, like the little things that they did to like make sure that you understood that they really did love the source material and they were, really it was in good hands. It's a very good adaptation because it followed the book and improved some parts of it.
And I think it makes the plot point hit a lot better.
Yeah.
Because we know the allegory around these kinds of things. We know exactly like why this was written. We know what the time period that it came from. And I think that gives me a context that I don't think I would have appreciated as much otherwise, especially in 2024, and especially with the way that this movie looks compared to what it could have looked like 20, 30, 40 years ago.
And I think bringing it to a mainstream audience, I will say, like, Herbert's writing style is unlike any other author I've ever read. Like he will put you in different character shoes in the same paragraph sometimes. Like, how most books are organized, like, okay, by character, right? Like Game of Thrones is like Catelyn's
Game of Thrones,
this whole chapter is from her perspective. Most books are like third person, like where it's just kind of ambivalent, and then Harry went and did this, and then Ron went and did this, right? It's from a bird's eye view kind of thing. Like Dune is like you're in people's heads reading their thoughts, but then also the next sentence you'll be in somebody else's head. And so it's very like jarring. It's hard to wrap your head around it sometimes. And I think that's why some of the ideas, like, you kind of feel high when you're reading this book, like when you're completely sober. Like there's so many weird, trippy, psychedelic things going on, and also just the way it's written. So I think the movie did a really, really good job of like bringing to a mainstream audience the idea of like this, cursed savior kind of thing. While also bringing you in on like, oh, well, all this stuff behind the scenes and all the sci-fi kind of things, Benny Gesserit and just kind of the different things behind the scenes. It did such a good job of like streamlining it together and bringing it to the main audience, to where everybody can kind of understand the point of the story, and see all the epic moments at the same time.
I will say, like, I love the idea of like just having a weekend and just watching this for 6 hours, part 1 and part 2. Just fucking, let's grab a bunch of popcorn, a bucket to pee in, and just watch this shit for 6 hours.
The wormussy, because that's what you have to buy. You have to buy
pee in that bucket, or are you gonna do something else?
I'd like extra butter, no popcorn.
No popcorn.
Also, you can't really get your hand in there to get popcorn out. Like once you have a fist with popcorn in
It's
it,
a bad
you can't
design.
really pull it out of there.
It's
a perfect design for what it's meant for. I don't know what you're talking about. It was sold out where we were trying to go to see it. Movie. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that.
Oh, really?
We couldn't get the Wormussy, unfortunately.
Well, it's probably the cheapest sex toy you could buy.
Fair point.
But look, listeners, let's go. Let's just hop into spoilers now. I would like to start. One of my complaints about the movie, in the sense that I did hear about this afterwards, how when Frank Herbert first wrote Dune, he basically realized a lot of people didn't get the point when that book came out. And that's hence why Dune Messiah was created.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because from him, at least from what I saw and read, the point was this isn't the hero's journey. Yeah. Paul's a villain. This is the creation of a villain, essentially.
Right.
I don't think the movie did a good enough job for me personally in showing that.
Yes, and I agree 100%. And they do need to really bring it home. They do need to make a third one and make.
But they did it in this movie. That's what I'm saying. I think he's going
to do it. I think they are going to do it.
I think they will, but I think if that was the point, like I don't think he did a better job than what Herbert was trying to do in the first book. If that was his complaint, I think what you would do, I think maybe in the sense he was too faithful to the source material, that you could have improved from the source material by emphasizing that more by the end. Because by the end of this movie, I wasn't necessarily thinking Paul was the villain. I was like, this dude's saving all these fucking brown and black people. We chilling, man. What do you mean?
I think it's because the Harkonnens are so bad, like they're so evil that you don't really you're kind of happy at the end of Dune because you're like, oh well, good, they beat the bad guys, right? And like, sure, Paul, he's kind of talking about this like darkness stuff that's going to happen later, but we don't really see that, so out of sight, out of mind, right? But in the second one, or what they could have done is like have the Freeman go a little crazier at the end and like, go a little wilder. And I think that would have been good to drive that point home. But also in the book, Brian, I wonder if you'll agree, like in the book, I definitely was like, okay, Paul is a dick, because like in the book, it's much more of like a choice. Like he knows that if he continues, he will become this like, genocidal leader of this like crazy.
And I don't think that Timothée Chalamet did a good enough job, or maybe just the direction or the script did a good enough job to show that.
Well, exactly, because they in the movie they very much made it feel like he was backed into a corner where it's like, if you stay in the north, you can't do much else, and basically they're coming after you now, so like you have to go.
But
south,
billions of people don't die.
Whereas in the book, it was much more of a choice of like, if I do this, it's going to be this holy war thing, and it's like, well, okay, I'll do that. So you know what I mean? Like that's for me, it felt more like a choice.
It's really funny because as someone that didn't read Dune until recently and also played and like engaged in a lot of media that I'm now seeing is directly influenced by Dune, I can understand what they were trying to do there, and I think that makes me appreciate this more once again. I completely agree with you. I do think that they don't do a good enough job. I don't think it's writing 100%. Timothée Chalamet, the points where he could do it, he did his best to, but it just doesn't go far enough. And like Devin said, I think the Harkonnens being so bad is too bad. It's too rough on it. Whereas like I'd almost like a kind of World of Warcraft-esque story where it's like everyone's just trying to do their best, and you kind of commiserate, maybe empathize, if not sympathize for the opposition. You really can't, because they're the worst people ever. And they're this guy that's making people that are just trying to have their home. So you're like, well, obviously I like this guy, white savior or not, whatever.
Right.
But then on like the same end is like Devin said, I think in the movie they make it more like a backed in the corner. Like the only way, and this comes from, I don't know if you guys ever played Fable 3 specifically, game for probably only Xbox 360. I think it came out for PC for a little bit.
Fable.
Yeah, but one of the things about Fable 3 was you have a choice where it's like you can save these people, but you have to be a dick, and they're going to hate you for it. But that is how you save the world, is by being a dick. So you have this really tough chance. We can either like refute that and try to make the world good while still being a good person, or you have a much easier time making the world better by being a fucking dick. And that's what this felt like. Whereas in the book, it was much more like, you have choices to do this, but your choice for power is going to be bad, and think bad things are going to happen. So it felt much more like he was struggling with two sides, whereas this one, it felt like he had no side to struggle with. His struggle was nothing. It didn't exist. It was
like the events of the movie kind of made his choice for him.
And they sped it up pretty quickly to the point where he basically said, I'm not going to go to the South. And then like one scene later, he's like, I'm fucking going to the South. Fuck all these people.
Thank you. And that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't know how a movie that is so long has, there are times where I'm like, this movie goes these scenes, this time period, it takes so long to do anything. And then the next scene, I'm like, we just traveled. How is it going so slow and so fast at the same time? It's so weird to me. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, like one of the points was when fucking Javier Bardem's character is like, Paul, you must travel into the desert by yourself. And then the next scene, he's back at camp. I was like, we didn't see, he already did it? We didn't even see it. What the fuck?
There is like a jump. There's like a jump in the book, like, right? Like he kind of gets with them and he starts like training, I guess. Like there's the whole betrayal of the Atreides thing where they get betrayed by Dr. Yue. And then like he has to like fight for his place among the Fremen, right? And then they kind of jump ahead to where he's like been fighting the Harkonnens for a while. And I think the movie did a pretty good job of that scene where, oh my God, the scene where he gets Robin out in the desert. You know, so it's implied by that point that they've been doing this for a while, this like guerrilla warfare and like he knows what they're doing.
Which that scene was
such
great.
A cool shot. God, there were so many cool cinematography things.
Oh
yeah.
One of the shots that stuck out to me, that shot where him and Zendaya shoot down the helicopter, and then they're just running, and all of a sudden it crashes in the background behind them. Looked fucking phenomenal. Looked amazing.
In the grand scheme of things, this movie didn't cost as much as other movies. It was $190 million. It's on, I wouldn't say it's on the lower end, but it's definitely lower than you expect from some of the cinematography you see. Especially with so much of CG. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, the cinematography is the best part of this movie by far. Like that's where they nail it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think just last thing on this point of, you know, before we get too far into cinematography and other plot points, like just the thing of Paul's switch. Yes, they didn't do a good enough job, but that's also true of the original book. So I think in Messiah was a very divisive book because a lot of people loved it.
Right. Didn't you fucking hate it?
I hated it because nothing happened. Like the whole book was just like an axe to grind, just like, you know, philosophical debates and stuff. And like nothing happens plot wise. I think, and it jumps ahead like 15 years. I think Denis Villeneuve will do a good job of like filling in the gap and also clarifying the message of Messiah if they do it, which I think they will. Well, like here's the thing: nobody should leave. Like this is like the first two made a lot of money, and I'm sure Messiah would too. But like you should not leave Messiah feeling good. Like you should leave Messiah feeling very sad about what you just saw.
As what we've watched recently, it might be tougher than you think because I think Attack on Titan. We talked about this a little bit off air, Devin. Is I think Attack on Titan took a lot of liberty from this as well. And we learned that even though very much the main character is supposed to be the villain, slight spoilers for Attack on Titan, a lot of people didn't feel that way. And they didn't get the
That's true.
And that might just be a media literacy issue that we can't solve. I think anything that's going to be controversial or anything that's going to have something important to say is going to actually struggle to hit everybody the same way. The same way that people say that they, you know, believe in the rebellion of Star Wars, but then somehow side with the Empire in real life. Like it's just a dissonance that's going to be there.
And I don't like, it speaks to like, I think Herbert really just had this point he wanted to drive home because it's like logically, just from the movie perspective, right? Like Paul has this moment and I guess I don't really want to talk about the end first, but like he has this moment where he holds all the power of the universe, like in himself, right?
Yeah.
His family was killed by this like system of politics where like this, you know, like the emperor felt like he had to betray his father, right? Like your family was directly hurt by this system. Why don't you just tear down the system? But instead he's like, he just becomes this, he sells out.
He
just
gives
becomes
up
part of the system and perpetuates it.
It's also real terrible in this movie because he gives up his black woman for a white woman to rule the world. It's a little
no. Okay. Florence Pugh, damn it.
But see, okay, that's probably, well, I don't know. We're talking about the end, but like
that's fine. Let's get. Go.
I mean, my favorite change I think from the book is because in the book she just kind of takes it and then like tells her he's like, Chani, you're still gonna be my wife. Like by that point he was married and like in the book, you remember this, Brian? Like in the book, he had already had a son with Chani. And then like while they're about to like attack the Emperor's like ship, like at the very end, that last battle with you know, the start of that battle with the sandworms and everything,
I don't know if we can call that a battle, but
some assassins like sneak into like Siege Tabard and kill his
son.
son.
He fucking dies.
Oh shit!
Because he has like the future sight now, he's just like, oh, they already snuck in and killed my son, and he's like real deadpan about it. And then they just go do the battle anyway. And then Shani is like his like main piece, and Irulan is his side piece. But he keeps them both in Messiah. Like he's married to Irulan, but
I didn't read Messiah, so I don't know
his concubine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, spoiler alert. But anyway,
I might never read it. I don't know how I feel about Messiah.
I did hear. Yeah, that's the biggest change.
I like that they changed that in the movie to give Shani more autonomy and just be like, and I like that they gave her more to do in the movie of like she was kind of the voice of reason the whole time. She really was instrumental in like kind of clarifying the point for us, right? Because in the book she was more passive. She was kind of more like less of a character, but in now she was kind of the voice of reason. She's like with us of like. She sees this transformation happening and it's like, all of you are being manipulated. This is crazy. This doesn't make any sense, you know? And she sees it happening and she sees the change. So I really like how they improved her character in the movie for sure.
For sure.
I think what made me mad as well by the end was, and this is just source material because I do hear that's just kind of how the book ends. It just kind of ends. I was this shit. I thought this was the end of Dune. I knew that Dune. I thought 3 was gonna be Messiah, but I was like, that's a different book. This movie should have an ending. This shit don't fucking end. I was like, are you fucking kidding me with this? I was pissed. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought they were gonna end it slightly.
I was like, he did it
differently.
Again. He fucking did it again.
And maybe go a little bit through Messiah and then do that. Because when I read Dune, I was like, okay, I see what's happening here. Because I even told Alex, I was like, I think it's gonna be 2 movies. And that's it. Because I knew it was gonna be 3 fucking hours. So it's like they got to get somewhere. Fuck. And then when I saw like that's where they end, I was like, okay. Okay. Yeah. They're milking. They're milking for sure.
I think they're going to save it from Messiah, save some stuff from Messiah. But I think to really, like, to your point, Oscar, like, I think if they had shown like 10 more minutes of like them attack, like the Fremen just turning from like the good guys to like suddenly they're attacking everybody else in like the council the Lancer had, then it's like, oh shit. Like, you know, then it's like that King's Landing moment of like, damn, we're just like.
Honestly, that would have been nice because then I would have been like, oh, Paul's a bad guy. That's a note to end on.
Yeah.
Not this weird, ambiguous bullshit. I was like, really? We gonna end on Zendaya's angry face riding a worm? Come on, man.
It's kind of the same way they do with like The Last of Us. That I think they had to have some kind of not necessarily an epilogue, but something that be like to really reinforce. It's like, oh, this is a weird decision that has been made, and I don't feel comfy.
They
with
had
it. So
one line that I thought was good. And that was when his mom was like, and the Holy War began. And then I was like, okay, dope line to end on. I'm still pissed.
I think I have enough context that didn't bother me so much. But I can see how it could bother someone that doesn't care about the book or haven't read the book.
Right, because it's all hypothetical, right? Like he had the visions and stuff. And it's like, damn, we're going to kill a lot of people. And it's like, yeah, but you haven't killed them yet. Like, just go kill the Harkonnens first.
And I do like that idea of just the whole movie of how like, is it true? Is he actually this Messiah? Is this true versus and like I do really like that whole debate on a philosophical level. I like it.
And he made it true, you know. That's
But also, did he make? I was like, or because this shit happened so fast, he's just good at everything. Right. You know,
I think what would make it better is there needed to be more deniers in the movie itself. I don't think it's necessarily in the book because a lot of it goes into the head of Zendaya's character. Whereas in the movie, you're seeing people, and it seems like everybody except for Zendaya and maybe like 2 other people are on board.
They all love him.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of hard to really see because I love the idea of this because you know as a person of color, the white savior complex that kind of happens in so many movies, and that just is the way the movie ends. Avatar is a great example of that. It was kind of nice to see like, oh, this is a cautionary tale of like, yeah, this is kind of fucked because obviously we know the context of the story and what Frank Herbert was writing it about.
Yeah.
I think they made it too easy for him to come into power and less manipulative for him to get there. And I think that lack of abrasion is what made it. Because I think the big thing we liked about Attack on Titan is he did have abrasion. He just conquered that shit.
Right.
And that made it feel very like, oh, okay, like he's that motherfucker. Derogatory.
Yeah.
Like
and I did hear that this is also like an adaptation thing where I heard that it takes him a while to conquer the big worm.
Right.
Obviously they can't, this movie's already long enough, but it's weird how what they chose to pick and choose to put in there and what to take out. But that would have added to him not being just good at everything. Exactly. And being like, oh, maybe he is.
You're absolutely right.
He just conquers the big worm on the first fucking go.
I think part of the interesting part of the story is the fact that he does not really fulfill the philosophy that everyone's thinking about so easily. It's just that he had it's kind of like the Kit Harington and
he was privileged.
Yeah, in Game of Thrones, that his ability is the fact that he just has things that they don't have, and that's adds to the white savior complex of like, fucking Jon Snow was better everybody and everything because he had fucking formal training. So that made him seem like he was like, oh, he's the one. So the same thing with Atreides would have made more sense to be like, he's just good at everything because he had.
It's like he showed up to the track meet with Nikes and everyone's barefoot.
Exactly. I can see where you're coming from that. So I think just me already knowing that makes it like I don't need it in the movie. Whereas if I didn't see it in the movie, I'd be like, well, what the fuck? Like, why is he just so fucking like? I would be like, oh yeah, that's the Messiah because he can just fucking do that shit. Like, no, he's better at fighting because this motherfucker comes from some weird ass planet, and this dude had formal training from the best of the best. Like, it makes sense.
Since the day he was born, he was fucking taught to be a ruler. Right. He learned tactics. He learned he learned all this shit based off his privilege. And I just But
also, like, the whole time when he's on the spice, he has these like little visions of the future, right? But when he has that water, the water of life, that's when he goes fully unlocks his mind, the potential of his mind, right? Because he's this culmination of genes that make this quasi cataract, which is basically because there's no computers. This is like the biological evolution of like a human computer that can like kind of see into the future, right? Like they can warp time and space,
right,
to like see like possible futures. And that's when the movie really turns, and that's when he fully becomes like the prophet. Is after, I think after that, maybe he was wearing like a black cape after that for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he goes all dark.
But that was like the transformation, right? And that's when
which I did think Timothy did a great job in that scene where he goes to the dude and he talks about his grandma or some shit.
Yes.
And then he's just yelling at everybody. I was like, that was a good scene. I believe I was like, woo boy.
That man was acting his ass off, brother. Holy shit. I didn't care about Timothy Chalamet for a while, but that man, he killed that one.
Dude.
He did it.
I'm like with Shawnee, like this is all manipulation, but I'm like, damn it, Paul, I'm fighting for you. Let's go beat the Harkonnens. Like,
I do love how his mom, like, to herself was like, slow the fuck down, boy.
You came in too hot, big dog. What are you doing?
But it didn't matter.
That's the thing too, is I think if I hadn't watched Attack on Titan before this came out, I would have liked it a lot less. But feeling that like dichotomy of those two shows is like, or this show compared to this movie is like, I just really love seeing someone turn into a villain. It just looks good. And that speech and that monologue especially like really got me. It really made me feel the Eren vibes of like, oh shit, he's off the deep end now. Shit's about to get really real.
Yeah.
But he was off the deep end, but in a way that it's like, they can't challenge him. He's saying real shit. Like,
but he also like he was fully aware of what he was doing, right? And that's another thing that makes him kind of a bad character, like a villainous thing, right? Is like, you know that you're manipulating these people to your own benefit to get revenge, basically, and like prop yourself into power. You could have chosen to just like, you know, and he could have just chosen to let the Harkonnens win and just kind of fade into obscurity, and maybe that would be the moral high ground, right? But he knew that the board was set for him, right? The Bene Gesserit had done this religion. I just love this idea of like the religion being like planted like generations before, and like the seeds.
I love the fact that he fucked it up. They're like, we wanted a girl. Now you gave us this damn demon boy.
I mean, I love that he fucked up their plans. Yeah, for sure.
It's hilarious. Like, it's hilarious.
Especially when he's like, because, you know, he was the evolution of humanity, right? And then, but it was, but not one that they could control. And that's another, fun
when
thing.
He yells at that old woman at the end and she calls him an abomination, I was like, good. I hate that old lady so much. I'm glad he yelled at her ass. He used the damn speech, the voice, whatever it's called. I was like, good. Voice. I'm sick of this lady.
But just like him being fully aware that like, okay, this religion has been set up and like, I have the potential to like, just step in and just be that guy. It was just such a wild moment for him to just be like, well, guess what? Like, all y'all have been saying I'm the least son of, like, guess what? I am. Like, and it's
he's like, fuck it.
Just yelling at everybody, like, you can't take me on. You can't take me on. You can't take me on.
He said, I might be what you've been praying for forever. And I was like,
yes. I am the answer to your prayers.
And I think the problem for me with that, loving that scene, I think the problem with me was still, I still didn't buy he was fully turned as the villain. I don't think it was done well enough.
It was too fast. I agree.
It was too fast. And also, I'm like, I agree with what he's doing to a degree. Because I also hate these motherfuckers and want these people to be free.
What else would you do? Like, even in the best scenario, you would help these people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It just would have been under different
It's
pretenses,
tough.
but the pretenses almost don't matter because it's still a net positive, at least at this point.
I'm just saying Breaking Bad did it better.
It'd be harder if it was like the Emperor doing all this stuff, and it's like, well, you know, these people have hair and like they have eyebrows, like they're real people. You know what I mean? But like because it's the Harkonnens, you're like anything but them, right?
Right.
They're weird. We don't like the fat guy.
We traded one terrible dystopia for a slightly less terrible dystopia.
Gosh.
I don't know.
The Skarsgård brother looks fucking scary. I don't know.
And I think that's one of the things that like I wonder if Herbert would have done differently if he had like, because it's like they're so bad. Like how can you tell me there's nuance here when the Harkonnens exist? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
You know, it's not like Game of Thrones where it's like, okay, all these people, you know, all these houses have different ambitions, but at the end of the day, they all just are people. It's like, no, the Harkonnens are fucking terrible. Like they need to be eradicated. Like I'm fully for the holy war against the Harkonnens. Just stop it after that.
And we don't know the other people to be like, oh, they suck or not. Like all I know is the Emperor, and it's like, well, I mean, he kind of sucks, but
exactly. And that's the theme. It's like once he unleashes the holy war, because he says it at the end, right? Like send them to paradise or whatever. He just knows that it's just going to go all over the universe.
Billions and billions of people are going to
control it.
Yeah.
He can't control it, and the Fremen cannot be beat. Like. I mean, God, I love this. I just love the Raban ambush scene when they're just getting taken out in the sand. And then like one of them jumps in the helicopter as he's like running away, you know, because like that's the essence of them.
Yo, quick shout out to Batista being the biggest bitch in this whole
They bitch made him so
hyped his
bad.
ass up in that first movie so much. I was like, he about to kick some ass or do some shit.
Dude.
He gets 1-2 pieced out by fucking Thanos. That shit was hilarious.
And that kind of pissed me off. And I realized now because they wanted to save the big fight scene for, you know, the one point. But I was kind of like, all this fucking risen up they did with this man, and they have him die in literally 30 seconds. Pissed me the fuck.
Is that in the book?
Not like that. Like fucking what the fuck,
man.
Well, no, Beast Raban's pretty useless in the book too. But he's really only there to show the like.
He's a pawn of the and that was the whole thing.
I knew that, but I didn't know he went out like that. Was sad, bro.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
But I mean, Raban only exists so that Fade Rotha can like step into the light and be kind of like the foil to Paul.
Kiss my boots.
Yeah. Fade. By the way, Fade Rotha, I thought that was a pretty cool. Like, what did you think of the cinematography of Getty Prime, the Harkonnen planet?
That's one of the best scenes in the movie. That the fucking like grayscale, black and white Coliseum fight.
Very
that
pretty.
Shit was fucking sick.
Devin's gonna hate me for saying this, but it gives Rian Johnson, it gives Last Jedi. They played really well with colors and stuff. I hate everything about that movie, but I do think Rian Johnson is very good at cinematography. And I think he's really good at playing with color. So it gave me some of those vibes sometimes. It's unfortunate it was wasted on a movie like that, but I got that feeling immediately when I saw the black and white and everything was really high contrast. And I was like, oh, this is very like the Red Sand kind of scene.
Oh,
with, I was like, oh shit, okay.
Ugh.
No,
Rian Johnson's a good director. It's a bad movie, but he's a good director. I'm sorry.
I gotta give him props.
Shout out to fucking Austin Butler. I had to get used to his voice. As soon as he started talking, I was like, oh, you're not gonna sound like that the whole movie, are you?
He's just Elvis.
I got used to it.
It's just Elvis. Yeah. Elvis is talking.
Apparently, he had a voice coach try to make him talk more like Skarsgård. That's what he wanted to go from more like to be like Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah, he's a good sociopath. You know, I believed it. He was terrifying.
That's the thing, man. The Harkonnens, they were like cannibals and shit. Like the Harkonnens are awful. Like you can't.
They live under a black sun, Devin. They live in fucking La La Land. It's not right.
And that's what's tough too. And that's why I think like Oscar said that it might just be kind of a thing where it's like the source material is kind of what struggles, because it's like when you make a sociopath and put them in the world and make them the next like heir to the throne, it makes it really hard for me to commiserate with them. Where it's like Fade is an atrocity of a human being. Whatever the fuck Paul is, this man is 10 times worse. He just has less hair.
Exactly.
Like
right.
He looks like a giant sperm.
Yeah, like I can't fucking root for this guy. He's a sociopath. He's crazy.
Right. I can't believe Homegirl had sex with him. That blows my mind.
Listen, when hoeing is your superpower, you hoe. It don't matter where you hoe, when you hoe, who you hoe. Hoeing is
I feel bad, bro.
The superpower. Do what
Especially
you gotta do,
after
girl.
The scene before that, we just saw him kill two people's throats, slit two people's throats, and I'm like, I'm surprised she survived that encounter. I'm not gonna lie.
Bloodline secured.
Yeah, she knows what she's
doing.
It's
a girl. Don't worry.
Shout out to her.
Yeah.
That being said, that baby gonna be real uggo.
Yep. She'll look like a giant Sperm whale.
Yeah.
Also, what did you think of the twist that Lady Jessica was the daughter of Baron Harkonnen?
Okay, for a split second when they first said that, I was like, wait. So does that mean I for a second thought she fucked the Baron?
No.
Not that she was his kid. I was because that to me would have explained how Oscar Isaac isn't his biological dad.
Right. right.
But then I realized, oh, okay, so he's half Harkonnen then?
Yes.
Yeah, he's half or a quarter, but either way, he's like more,
Right. I mean, I thought it was cool. I thought it was an interesting twist. I mean, I like when he's like, "Hi, Grandpa," and then you're dead now.
That was okay. That I fucking love that though. Like, I kind of wish they'd done more with that. The whole battle at the end. So the shot of the worm coming through the sand, so
cool as
fucking cool. One of the coolest shots of all time, I think. I wish they showed more of that battle because
it was so short, dude.
I know, but that's also similar to the book. They leave you wanting a lot, but I just wish there was more to that battle.
You know what I wanted? I wanted some Lord of the Rings shit with worms. Because after coming out of this movie, I said that flashback in Dune 1 where he's kicking ass and there's worms, like he sees the future in that flashback and there's worms in the background shit. That was cooler than anything in this movie. I'm sorry. Than that last battle. I was like, what the hell just happened?
There's one brief shot of Shani in that melee, but that's it.
And that was it. And then the next thing you know, he's just walking in casual as shit into the fucking Emperor's throne. I was like, what?
But that matches the book a lot. But I wish that's one area where I wish they had expanded more.
That bummed me out.
Show the Fremen because the Fremen were like better than the Sardaukar. That's the crazy thing. Like them, the Empire's elite soldiers. I really wanted to see the Fremen just like wrecking them.
Didn't see nothing.
Yeah, it just didn't happen. But like that shot though, like when he comes in and like you're with like you as the audience are with like the Empire's court, right? And like there's scary noises happening outside, and then this one figure comes in with the mask and just kind of like
walks up,
like
doesn't say a word,
knifes him in the.
I can't believe no one walked up to him. They just let him walk
because they were afraid,
petrified.
They were scared as shit, bro.
But the fact that he's just like, "Hey, Grandpa, you die like an animal," and he just guts him, guts him like a fish. Like
that was great.
Doesn't touch anyone else.
I love that ending for Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah,
that was such a good.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I hate keep going back to anime, but I love them. It just feels so much where it's like when you get so powerful that everyone just is petrified by you, and that gave the Eren Yeager kind of situation where just like these people couldn't touch him at this point. Like even though they were like trained knights, see
Eren Yeager do some cool shit.
But there's also he can turn into a giant fucking monster, but Paul Atreides can't. But somehow still instills fear in people that are like a trained knight's guard. And they're still like,
I like that in concept. No, I do.
And it's another thing where it's like, I just don't know they had enough time to bake, because we don't know much about the Emperor or any of like his things. But it's like a lot of these people, of course, come from wealth, and once again, the book I think does so well about showing that in the white savior kind of complex, where like these people come from privilege. Yes, they know how to fight, but they don't know how to fight. They don't know scrapping.
They know how to fight on this planet. This planet is foreign.
And I think that's what I love about the Fremen so much, is the fact that it's like, yeah, you may know how to fucking swing a sword and do all kind of knights battles. You don't know what motherfuckers. It's like a Vietnam War kind of situation. Like America was very trained in how to fight, but they didn't know what happens when people come out the fucking ground. What do you do about that? Yeah. And that's that new shit that you're like, oh fuck, I've never been this before, and we got decimated as Americans during that time because we didn't know how those people fought. We didn't know how fucking Vietnamese people fought because of the scrappiness. And the Fremen give off that same kind of vibe that I just find is so interesting. And you kind of could feel it here the same way, that it was like, even though they're really well trained, they don't know shit about what's going on here. And they made that really, they gave you that feeling to me.
Absolutely. No, like the Sardaukar are like supposed to be like the most feared, warriors in the galaxy. And they're just like quaking because of what's going on outside.
Because what do? You can't feel sound. The ground doesn't move with sand. So the sound doesn't move and travel with sand. So they're imperceptible. You can't hear them or see them coming.
Here's my only plot hole that I've kind of thought about. It's like after so when they leave Dune, right, and they're this really scary fighting force for sure, but like a lot of their tactics rely on like sand tactics, like sand hiding. When you go to like Caladan or like a forest,
what are you gonna do anywhere else?
You put the worms on the ship. They're coming to space. They're coming with it.
You bring those baby worms, and then you just have to settle down for years until they grow.
You go to like a water planet where all the city's underwater, and they're like,
Shit.
Fuck, we don't know how to fight them here. Like it's water. This is water. We don't know how to do this.
Our favorite fucking nerd, Neil deGrasse Tyson, came onto Twitter to tell everybody that the fucking thumpers wouldn't actually work because the way sand works. So no worms would be able to hear and come up to the surface based on that. Also, they wouldn't be able to drive straight. They would have to squirm through the sand based on how traction works. Because you see a lot of time the worms go straight ahead. They wouldn't actually be able to do that.
Yeah.
They have to slither like a snake.
Yeah, they could freaking fly on those worms. Like
they really could.
They made that like that. I think that's true of the book as well. Like you go from like, oh my god, these worms are so scary to like, oh yeah, we just ride them around the desert casually. Like it's like that jump is so like jarring.
Honestly, one, I expected more worms in this movie. Two, I will say what my favorite scene in this movie, or one of them, it's definitely top two, is Paul riding the worm. That was where I actively was like, oh my god, you have to see this. Just to see this scene in a theater. Go to a theater with the best sound system you can find, because that shit sounded incredible. Because like it was like hard to see, and like I think it was just so incredibly well shot, and like that was one of the few moments where I was like, fuck yeah, I felt something real good about what I just saw. That was really good. That was really cool.
Yeah,
taking the Sacred Mother on them worms is crazy, but like you said, they just took those worms. They don't get those worms are taxis now. They don't give a shit about them anymore.
Yeah, everyone's riding that fucking worm. Grandma,
when they take the Sacred Mother on the worm, they take his mom on there. She's like, she's the most precious thing in the world. What do? Put her on a worm for 8 days. Let's go.
That's just a subway system at this point.
Honestly, yeah, kind of, yeah.
I thought the love interest stuff moved a little fast, but again, that's just more pacing book stuff. Obviously, more time passed in the book than it seemed on the screen.
Yeah,
obviously,
very Star Wars episode 2.
Yeah, because aren't like months are supposed to have passed during this time, right?
Yeah,
but that is what it is. Very quickly, I got to shout out Javier Bardem. He might be my favorite person in this movie. He is so fucking good. He's just so like he's the funniest, most charismatic zealot I've ever seen on screen. He's just like, oh man, I like it because he's like one of the few little bits of comedic relief in this movie, and it's just he's just so good with the timing of it and everything. I was like, oh, more of him. He was great. He was fucking good.
Yes, he showed off for sure.
Very, very well casted for sure.
Yeah. Anya Taylor-Joy is his sister, which I got that spoiled. I heard about that before I got into the movie.
Okay, that whole thing, I think they did a really good job because in the book, like that is the trippiest chapter in the book. Like you're like, what in the hell is going on? So basically, like when the mom, but I think the movie did a really good job of portraying that because it's like I think that's one of the hardest things to portray is like that.
Talking to the fucking embryo?
Yeah, like that the unborn baby was gaining all the memories of that other Reverend Mother, which is like generations of memories. And she was gaining all of that while she was still in the womb. And that when they realized that, they're like, oh, fuck, you're pregnant. We shouldn't have done this. I think the movie did a really good job of taking something that was really hard to, I thought would be very, very hard to get from page to screen. But I think they executed it pretty well. And they drove it home when Lady Jessica was kind of talking to her throughout the rest of the movie while she was still in there. I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Of
which
like, oh shit,
I did hear that's different from the book. This is a spoiler for the book, but it doesn't matter. I think they're past this. Doesn't that baby technically kill the Baron instead? Like that baby is born, I thought, and the baby kills the Baron, not Paul.
I don't remember.
Or is that incorrect?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
Maybe that just happened. That I do know that happens in the other Dune movie, the bad one from the 90s or whatever. That baby is born. There's a child actor, and that baby kills the Baron. I'm pretty sure.
How old is the child actor at this point? How old is the baby supposed to be?
Like 5.
Holy shit, the baby's crazy.
Hilarious.
Maybe I can't remember, but
I didn't read Dune Messiah, but I don't remember that in the first book.
I know in Children of Dune, she struggles with like the ghost of Harkonnen, like in herself.
Good lord.
I guess I need to reread the end because
that could be something else. They could have been a liberty they took in that other movie. You know,
that's a crazy liberty. What the fuck?
Speaking of the Baron, I just have to say he's way less scary in this movie. Seeing more of him, I was like, I'm not that scared of him as much as I was.
He's still gross to me. I still don't like looking at him.
He's still gross. Yeah. But when seeing him slowly try to climb up them stairs to the throne, I was like, ah. The Paul v. Butler fight, I thought was pretty good. Not a bad fight. That big climactic knife fight.
You thought it was pretty good. I really loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I liked it.
I love that he was getting his ass beat.
I think no music was a great choice.
Yes, I agree.
Yes,
100%.
It was very visceral and
exactly, very visceral, very vapid, very bare bones of like it's no longer about like who's the better swordsman or who's better at this or that. It's like we're just scrapping. We're here. We're fucking. Scrapping.
Also, we're cousins.
Yeah, that's a little weird. You didn't need to tell them that, but
I think the sun coming in like in the red kind of sunset light.
It's
coming
beautiful.
through that window. There's something very Dune about like that aesthetic.
It's so funny because like knowing the outcome of it, I still was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, fuck, bro, he's gonna die.
Yes.
I thought they were both gonna die. I legit thought it was gonna be a thing where they both die.
Well, okay, one more like book thing. So Oscar, like in the book, every chapter begins with like an excerpt from like a future history book. So like the whole time you're aware that he becomes this like, you know, the emperor of the universe.
Oh,
and,
that's
like,
interesting.
The Muad'Dib and stuff. But as the events are unfolding in the book, you can't help but keep reading it. Like, because you're like, is it really going to happen in this way? And a lot of the quotes are like from like about how they go on this like holy war across the universe. And you're like, yeah, but Paul's not really going to do that, is he? Like, he's just going to be part, right?
Right.
So you know it's going to happen the whole time. But even then, you're like, okay, but wait, what if Feyd-Rautha kills him? Like, it's crazy.
That's kind of cool. I like that. That's pretty interesting.
There's a lot of good writing technique in it that I won't say it's missed in this, but it's just different. That it's like, and maybe it's just hard to film. Maybe it's just a hard way to film it. They might have tried it and it just didn't work.
I think it's a very, very good adaptation.
I do still,
given how hard the task
I would say
is.
We've seen how when you mix future and past, it can be kind of awkward in movie. A lot of people don't get it, and that's the biggest thing. Is they're trying to be mainstream, and in mainstream, you have to equate for the lowest thinker, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
true. Which I think they might have accounted for in this movie.
Yeah. My last point being, like, obviously this, just said this earlier, to see this in a theater, but for me personally, if I had to pick, I'm seeing Avatar 2 still in the theater. I'm just saying, like, as much this Avatar is a much more of a technical achievement and just a joy and roller coaster to ride than this is.
But the story is fuck nothing. Like,
no, 2 is good. 2's good. I'll give you 1. 1 is Dance with the Wolves. 2 is much better.
One is literally Dune until the part where Paul becomes a bad guy.
Yeah.
I think Dune is much more compelling universe than Avatar, but Avatar's cool. But
I still haven't seen the second one.
There's more to say.
And I was surprised. In my brain, I don't think this is a spoiler because I don't know, but it might be. I thought Momoa would come back, but I guess not. Maybe that's another thing. I thought I had heard that Duncan
tuned.
Idaho comes back, but I had no idea.
Stay tuned to New Messiah, and then I'm not going to read the rest of them, but go read what happens next. He fucking loves Duncan Idaho, and he will not. That is the Boba Fett of Dune. They just will not let Duncan Idaho go. Like, he'll be back.
I've heard some horror stories so for what some stuff they do to him.
Oh no, yeah,
some weird stuff.
But yeah, I see this in the theater. I thoroughly, I did enjoy it. It just wasn't 100% my cup of tea in terms of, again, weirdly expectations. Even though I had none, they still fucked with me. I don't know what it was.
That's so interesting.
I expected more Lord of the Rings, and it wasn't quite Lord of the Ringsy enough.
I don't know what Oscar likes. I don't understand.
I really like this movie. I think it was just, again, it might be the same thing. I just I didn't believe that point that they were trying to make as much that he's the villain. And the ending just end. I think it was a thing where I thought this would at least have an ending, and then Dune Messiah would be like a third chapter in this story, but not like it just. The ending really kind of annoyed me.
That's what most people think, though, right? Most people think that Dune Messiah is basically the falling action of Dune. It's basically like the
See, I didn't know that.
And like the fact that he wasn't even going to write it, you know, or and it's a very short book, but it also. I think he should have executed it better as well. So there's another book called Paul of Dune where they fill in like more of like the immediate after Dune, which I think would be, I hope they combine it into the movie.
Yeah, they should have just made him kill everybody at the end of this movie and end the shit.
Right. But as far as like as far as adapting the first book, I think Dune.
I get that.
Did a great job. Yeah.
No, I understand.
For me, not higher than Lord of the Rings, but like, man, debatable. I mean, there's no point in comparing it to Harry Potter, but I mean,
if that worm fight was better, I would be more jazzed about it. But that shit was 4 frames long.
One ship, one spaceship.
It's okay.
And that's it.
Because next we're gonna talk about Ender's Game, book and movie made by a racist.
Oh no,
anywho.
I didn't know that. Oh boy. Anywho.
I used to love that series.
Dune. Everyone, go see it. Go see it. It's a good time. Go to the theater. Don't see this at home. You gotta go to a theater.
It's definitely an Interstellar Oppenheimer type of movie, Avatar 2, which I'll never see.
You gotta see it. It's real good.
I don't wanna.
All right. Well, I think that's it for Dune, guys. We'll see you in Dune Messiah in 2038.
Timothy Chameleon will be my age at that point.
I'm about to say they keep the cast, or do they wait? Like, what do they do?
That's a great question.
No, I think won't they just make it like in a year or two, or a couple of years?
Sure.
Well, did you tell me it's like a 15-year time jump? I'm not gonna believe this dude's 40.
I hope that they would do both. I hope they would do part of it of like what immediately happens after, and then also maybe kind of frame it within the story of Dune, like Messiah. But they definitely need to fill in some gaps, because Dune Messiah is a very divisive book, and for good reason. It needs to be improved.
Well, it's weird when you have to write a book to help clarify the first book because no one got it. That's kind of a weird thing to do.
How much is the fucking ebook? Do I need to go and read Dune Messiah?
I wouldn't. But I mean, you can. I don't know. Yeah, I could.
I really had no interest in it, but now I keep hearing too much.
It's very divisive, and I feel like I was very compelled. Like I couldn't put it down, but I also just wanted to get to the end because I wanted to know what happened. But like, the plot could have happened in like one chapter. The rest of it is just like there's a lot of like
read a Wikipedia
philosophical debate about like reality and like, you know, I mean, Paul's basically bitching the whole time about how seeing the future sucks. I don't know. It's just tough because it's like not a lot happens in that time. It's a lot of like wandering around the throne room and stuff. And then boom, something happens. And it's like the whole action happens in like one chapter and then it's over. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't love it for that reason. Spoiler alert. Spoilers alerts.
All right, listeners. This podcast is about to be just as long as Dune is, so we gotta move on to our final segment of the week, listeners, and let's welcome Zach. I almost said Zach. Who the fuck is Zach? Let's welcome Alex back.
Paul Atreides on the mic.
All right, Alex.
I've emerged. I had a little bit too much spice. I didn't finish the movie. I gotta get back to it.
All right, yeah. Final segment of the week, listeners, which we like to call Free for All, title pending. This is a segment where you can kind of do whatever we want. Talk about our day, talk about life, rant, fight, nap, quit. It is free for all. I can very quickly go first because I'm sorry, guys, but my free for alls are probably going to be the same fucking thing for the next 3 months. I've just been playing more and more Final Fantasy, guys. I am now 30 plus hours into this game, and I'm only in chapter 4. I don't know how many chapters there are in this game, but yeah. Like I said, I dream in Final Fantasy. I just want to play it all the fucking time. I'm losing sleep over this shit, and I don't care. It's great.
Where are you? What's happening in the story?
I have just I just kind of completed the entire section of Junon, which was a section that you explored in the demo. I don't know if you guys I'm assuming you guys know what region that is.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to remember as well. I'm not sure if I remember the name.
Junon. Is it by the sea?
Yes.
Oh wow!
It's like there's like a seaport city type of thing. Yeah,
that's cool.
So I just got through all of that. It's not. It's like the second open world
chapter 4. That's crazy. Oh, but you can kind of pick and choose which cities you go to first and stuff.
Nah, it's been pretty much in no order.
Okay.
And that's what I figured it was gonna be. You were talking about that when you first were playing the demo, and I was like, I don't think it's gonna be like that. It's very specific where you go in the main game.
Yeah. I remember Junon.
I mean, I will say, like, it opens up, you can choose to explore this entire region, and basically, you know, it is dots on a map. I'm not gonna lie, but it's fun. It's still very fun. From the pattern that I've recognized in the game so far, I'm assuming this is how it's going to continue, where it's like you get an open worldy zone section to explore, and then a narrower, more single player driven section, then another open worldy, then a narrower singular. I'm in a linear section right now where a lot of cutscenes are happening, and you know, some cool anime shit.
Something I heard about that game that sounds really cool. I know that it's like a huge RPG or whatever. You get, I think there's 5 or maybe 6 characters by the time you finish the game or whatever. But you can only play with 3 of them in the combat. But when you're outside of combat, everybody is there with you, walking around and conversing and stuff. I think that is such a cool choice.
It's cool. I mean, yeah, like. I didn't notice this at first, but like even when I'm in combat with the 3, you can still see your other 2 at least right now I only have 2 other party members. You can see your other 2 party members, and they're like shooting. I think they do some damage, but it's not like anything worth anything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But they are on the outskirts, like actually firing. Like no offense, I'm sorry, Barrett. He's always on the outside.
That's so funny to me. Barrett can be good, bro. You sleeping on Barrett.
I'm sorry. My squad is so far. I'm gonna have trouble when I get Yuffie. I don't know who I'm gonna drop because right now it's just me, Tifa, and Eric the whole fucking time.
That's really interesting.
Sorry to Red. Sorry to Barrett. I'm sorry.
It's interesting to me because literally in the original, like, slight spoilers, I guess, there are points in the game where your teammates, and they do this in a lot of games. They did it in Mass Effect, which I kind of appreciate. Mass Effect 3, specifically, the Citadel DLC. You probably remember, Devin, where they'll complain when you don't pick them. There'll be points in the game where they're like, all right, I got to pick 2 people. And they're like, bro, you got to fucking pick me. Like, we can do this shit. And it's like, no, man, I'm picking Eric.
That's
funny. I
funny.
don't know what to tell you.
No, I mean it does. I've experimented a little with them because like obviously there's a relationship status, and so I'm just leveling up on them, making them all like me. So I'll throw them in there when I gotta make them like me.
You better make Barrett like you,
and
brother.
So funny.
And then I put them back on the bench. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Barrett's the best character in the game. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, he's a good one.
I mean, look, when I play with them, they're fun, but I'm just like, I like speed. I like the speed
Yeah,
characters.
no, I understand.
And Aerith's my healer.
Barrett
so.
can't fucking dodge nothing, and that pisses me off. That's what you got
Can't,
to. You have
and
to
I
make
hate
him.
it.
You have to
I
make
like
him a tank.
I love a good dodge.
Yeah, you have to make him a tank because that man is slow as shit.
Yeah.
I just hope that more giant RPG games take that note because I think that's super cool. It's one of the things I wish was a thing in Baldur's Gate because there's so many really cool characters and the banter between the party members when you're exploring is so interesting and hilarious. And I wish you didn't miss out. But it's part of the Baldur's Gate. You want to replay it 1,000 times.
But that's what's funny. What I did, because I played Divinity Original 2, is the game that came out before Baldur's Gate 3 by Larian Studios. And the first thing I downloaded was the mod to make it so I could have my full party. And it was kind of cheating in a lot of ways when it came to actually playing the game. But the biggest thing was like,
even during combat too.
Yes, even during combat, because the big thing that the big thing that I wanted was like, I know I was only going to play this game probably once because I know it was a really big game, and I was like, I just don't have the time to spend 300 hours on this video game, and I was like, I just want to get the full experience of hanging out with my people, and I think there's maybe like 5 or 6 party members. It's not like a huge amount, but it's like. Yeah, so you have 5 other people with you, and it's like, I want to hear what they have to say about shit. So like when we go through conversation dialogue, like trees and stuff, they'll be there to be like, oh, Brian, I don't like that you fucking doing that. And I was like, I like that. I wanted to keep having that with everybody. Because in a real world, we would all be together. Like Frodo's not just there with fucking Gimli and Legolas and no one else is there. Like there's other people there.
Exactly.
Like,
like why limit it? I like it that you could add. That's a cool mod.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I would love for it. This won't happen, but that would be so cool. Like once you beat the game, they do that. Like without a mod, you have your full party the whole fucking time if you want to play it again with the whole crew there. Actually, in combat, that'd be kind of sick. Yeah. But no, it's cool. Like obviously, there's also an actual specific reason why they're there is because side quests, a lot of them pertain to certain characters. So like, and that's one of the ways you improve your like relationship with them if you do the side quest. Like for example, there's a quest where you got to escort a dog. And that makes Barrett happy if you do it, and that's how you improve his relationship with him and type of shit like that.
What the fuck, Barrett?
There's some more shit with his daughter coming up. That's weird.
I like dogs.
It wasn't one of the best side quests.
He was saying just like that. I like dogs.
But it's still. I will say one thing. I was telling Brian off pod. If you missed the goofiness of Final Fantasy, this game is fucking goofy.
Let's go.
Some of these side quests are fucking hilariously goofy. And I kind of love it. I love it. It's hilarious.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I've seen some clips. So
I'm excited
about it. Yeah, Gold Saucer is going to be funny.
I cannot wait to get there. I'm so excited.
Looking forward to the updates.
I will, yeah. They'll be coming as much as I can. But, all right. And shout out to God of War Ragnarok. Who's next?
Oh, God. I will go next. I am not playing any video games at the moment, but I recently finished a very good TV show. It's a show that came out almost 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and I've been wanting to watch it for a long time. Maybe you guys have seen it. True Detective. Infamous show, yeah. The 4th season just came out. And I've heard a lot of really good things about the whole series, but especially the 4th season. So my wife Bambi and I finally sat down and watched the 1st season. And man, it was exciting. Yeah. It was really good. We're watching the 2nd season now.
Oh, you haven't finished all 4.
Okay.
No, we just finished the 1st season. We're in the middle of season 2, and we're just really trying to get through the second. The 2nd season is not.
I'm about to say 2 and 3. I think are not as.
I heard
3, 2.
I heard 2 especially was a little tough because it's very different from the 1st season. so people didn't like that so much.
Yeah, I heard it dropped off a lot.
I mean, they're all very different because it's like anthology, but like different characters and different like setting and events. But damn, something about like I don't know what I can't quite put my finger on why it's so not engaging. I'm not sure if it's like the dialogue or the direction. Like I want to be into it, but damn it, I'm just like.
I hear 4 is really good though.
Yeah,
so if you get through 2 and 3, you're in for maybe a treat with 4.
And I don't know if I heard bad things about 3 or bad things about 2. I think one of them is not very good, but the other one is like decent.
I sure hope it's 2. It feels like it's 2 because goddamn.
I think 2's the worst from what that's the one with Rachel McAdams and Vince Vaughn.
I
think that's the worst one.
And Colin Farrell. Is that his name? Irish guy.
Yeah.
Great cast, but it's just like not super compelling, especially following Matthew McConaughey and what's his name from the first season. I'm totally forgetting
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Yeah, they were just really electric together, and it was like a buddy cop detective story, and they kind of hate each other and come to love each other, but they still hate each other. And it's got that
fucking infamous one shot of him just fucking going through that little. Shanty town or some shit.
Oh man,
that shit was nuts. Yeah,
Shantytown. I think it's called the ghetto.
Is that? I don't remember.
We call it the hood where I come from. I don't know what to say.
It was the streets for sure. It was definitely the projects.
Definitely keep us updated because I'm interested in this show, but I'm afraid to start watching it because I'm afraid, like you said, that I'm not gonna like all of it. So I need someone else to go through
it. I'm a bit of a anal. I like part of me wants to just go ahead and finish and skip the second season, but I don't think I can. I don't think I can.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
I feel you. I would love to just watch the current season. I would love to just skip to that.
The first one's really good.
Yeah.
Hey, why can't you just skip 2 and 3?
Because we have problems.
It's something inside of me that I can't
sucking cause fallacy.
I have no problems.
You know how like I have to like do everything in a video game? That's the same thing.
I've finished atrocious TV series just because I had to finish it. Like that's
but like life is. Too
I'm getting
short.
better though, Devin. I'm watching YouTube videos on 2 times speed. It's great.
There are about 100 shows that I have on my list. I'm probably going to get to about 10 of them in my lifetime. Like you got to make choices.
I mean,
does Netflix have 2 times speed?
I hear you. If things are bad, I have no problem finishing them.
There's no time.
But I feel weird about skipping a season.
Resident Evil was terrible, and I watched the whole thing. I don't know what to
say. Guys, you got to do what I did with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Download it into an iPad of some sort. Watch it on your hour-long commute to work.
No.
That's crazy.
I'm just kidding.
If we're giving advice, the only advice is play Baldur's Gate 3.
That's fair.
I'll write that one down.
Shout out to Baldur's Gate 3.
Hell
That's the original.
Oh no!
Take that.
Well, hey, just since we're on the note of shows, I can quickly do mine. I hope y'all are going to watch with me Shogun on Hulu.
Yeah.
Pretty epic.
We almost watched it a couple days ago.
I'm not gonna lie, Devin. I saw that the premiere was like 3.5 hours long. I said I can't watch that right now.
What? Are you kidding?
No, it's just 2
I think it premiered with 2 episodes, and to be fair, it was with commercials. But I was still like, I can't do that right now. I can't do that right now.
You're losing me.
Commercials are jarring.
A Martin Scorsese film for the first episode is crazy.
Yeah, but it's a pretty cool, very well done. FX does some like pretty well done stuff.
Yeah,
like this.
FX is slapping.
But Shogun, very cool. I think a cool note is that they are like, so it's in Japanese, which is awesome. Like the Japanese characters speak in Japanese, so subtitles on.
Subtitles are in the whole thing.
Like subtitles will be on when they're talking, but then the English characters or the European characters, right? Will like they speak in English, but for the purpose of the show, it's Portuguese. But for us, for the audience, they speak in English, even though. So for us, it's English, but for them, it's Portuguese because that's a big part of the story.
Either way, the Japanese characters don't know what the fuck they're saying.
yeah. Like the translation is a part of it because they're so insular, but it's based on that, true period of history, and there's some pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Looking forward to the next episode that drops tomorrow.
Nice.
Or dropped yesterday. By the time.
So you always is there?
I want to watch it.
There's no English dub for like the Japanese characters.
No.
Okay, because there's an interesting thing about that in the game. I don't mean to get into a whole thing, but a Yakuza game, they do the whole thing where it's like it's better if you play it in Japanese subtitles because there's like an American joke, but it doesn't make sense because everyone's speaking English. So
that's funny.
Like, there's language is a part of the story, so like, and also it's
cool.
like super epic. Like the Japanese guy that's in every single Japanese role is like the main character, and it's very, very cool to see him speak Japanese. And Japanese just hits so cool in this samurai, you know, like space. So I mean, it should, you know, it's their it's their language, but it's very cool show.
Yeah,
nice.
I will get to it.
I hear great things about it. That's cool. Well, I'll go next super quick. So I watched a weird movie, but the biggest thing that I watched it in a decent experience. I go to a local theater sometimes to see some movies. It's called The Bird, and it's in like our little, like, I don't know, cutesy art section of my city. And I went and saw Girl Interrupted, and that is a mental health girly movie with Winona Ryder and fucking Angelina Jolie and all these other characters, based on a memoir book that a lady wrote. I don't know what her importance is. I'm sorry. I don't know too much about the whole thing about that. But she basically wrote a memoir about her time spent in the mental hospital, in the ward. And the first thing that I love about this theater is it's so fucking old, so half the seats are like broken or breaking, and it's very much like crowd funded by people.
I like that.
Like, it almost closed down like 2 times, especially over COVID, but donations have kept it alive. But the funniest thing about it is, instead of getting like, you know, commercials that you'll see at like a normal theater of like trailers and stuff like that, instead an organist comes out and he rises from the ground of the theater. So he rises from the fucking stage of this giant fucking organ. And then this like 78-year-old man, I assume he's either some kind of volunteer. They probably pay him like a little bit of money based on donations. That like, he just does this. And he just plays this old ass organ, and he just rips that shit full send. And it's just fucking, he plays like cartoon music, like the shit you'll hear in like Tom and Jerry, like oh
my god,
he just fucking hits that for like way too long before the movie
just scored a Cuphead.
Yeah, so it's just fucking like 15 minutes of this man just fucking sending this shit, and like
what the fuck?
I love him to death. You could tell like he's like, I wouldn't call him like a professional by any means, but he's definitely like, he has the heart in it, and I really appreciate that. And he just does that, and then he sinks back into the ground, and the movie plays.
What the piss?
That's incredible.
Why do I feel like his name is Lou?
He definitely got a name like fucking Lou, Louis, some shit like that. He got a little wife that's like, she might be a little sick, so he's doing it for her. I don't know. I love the man. I don't know him at all. He was wearing a North Face jacket, and I was like, I like this guy.
I love that he comes out of the ground.
That's the best part. Is the spotlight
like the Phantom of the
spotlight just hits on him. He just rises out of the fucking stage.
Does the organ come up too, or is the organ?
The organ comes up too. All of it comes up. It all comes up on the fucking platform.
For every movie.
Yeah. This before every movie in The Bird, this happens. So the tickets are like cheap compared to normal movie tickets. I think it cost me $10 for a ticket.
Yo, I gotta go see a movie.
Yeah, and they'll
have you been there before? Were you expecting that?
Yeah, I've been before, so I'm pretty used to this. Actually, Studio Ghibli movies are playing later this month, so if anybody finds themselves in Richmond later in March, you'll be able to see some. That'll be there, and he'll be there in the beginning, and he'll be playing his little song.
I think that's going on
they
my
need to
bucket
get this
list.
on TikTok, man. That'll get some people in seats.
I thought about filming it.
Like,
Yeah, they need more people because it was on a Wednesday, so I'm not like super. But the crowd was decent, but it wasn't like, it's not sold out by any means. That being said, quickly, I don't like Girl Interrupted.
Oh no,
it's a pretty fucking boring movie. As someone that has experienced mental health issues and also been in that position, not in the 60s, of course. This movie's based in the 60s. It treats mental health in a very weird way. It's one of Angelina Jolie's like first big films or whatever, so that's kind of interesting. She does not fit in that film at all, and just some of the pacing's weird. The movie's too long. There's good parts. Winona Ryder does really well in some of the stuff that she does, but God, it's a slow burn, and some of that shit's really boring.
So it's an older movie.
Yeah, it's older, but it came out in '99.
Okay.
And it's based in the 60s.
Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah, and everyone's super young and super, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give up too many spoilers for people that do want to watch it, but I will say that like, if you like mental health stuff or that interests you, maybe it's give something for you.
A movie that came out in '89, I don't have a lot of confidence.
It's 99, so it's not that old. It's like we're talking about The Matrix.
99. Oh shit,
it's 99.
This movie's so old. This is back when Angelina Jolie was blonde.
Yes, it was. Yes. I don't know. It kind of romanticizes mental health in like a weird way. It's supposed to be telling like kind of a cautionary tale, but it's just not good enough for me personally. I like more clinical stuff, so that's why I was kind of like, this is just stuff to make the girlies go, ooh, being sad is cool.
I see.
So yeah,
Ugh.
I don't know. Watch if you want. It was still $10 well spent. I still got to do something fun on the week during a weekday.
You got to see Lou, man.
I got to
Yeah,
see
that
Lou.
$10
Fucking crack that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, Oregon, the best part. That sounds like good money well spent.
And you can order beer there, so I could get a little beer and watch
You
Lou.
spent $10 to watch a movie you didn't like that much, but see Lou rip it on an organ. I spent $20 to fall asleep during Madam Web. I think you won.
Thank God I didn't have to spend $20 on Madam Web. Thank God I saw a matinee
That
in a
was
small
literally
city.
Robbery. Like we should literally put in a class action lawsuit against Warner
I
Brothers.
want a refund.
I only blame you guys.
As you should. It is our fault 100%.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let me not put that. It's Sony. Sony's the one we need to sue.
Very nice. All right, listeners. That is Free for All, Fred Pending, which means that is the show. You can email us at thefortressup@gmail.com, fortress.four. Feel free to email us any feedback, questions, recommendations, or anything like that. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube channel at The Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Follow the 3 Bollywood R's. Rate, review, and recommend us to anyone and everyone you know. Thank you, Jackie, for helping out at the podcast every week. Thank you, Brian, for the art, Alex, for the music, and Devin, thank you for being here even when you're not here. You can find Brian on Instagram at IGZ_. By the way, Alex of Peterson Films, and Devin, you can find him, I don't know, bitching about Dune. Talking about Dune, I don't know. We'll see.
Not bitches
Crazy
about
Dune. Devin's got a new Jesus or something.
I'll be preaching
Next week.
for Lisa Nagli.
Next week, maybe Avatar: Last Airbender, maybe something else. I don't remember. Something will happen. Who knows? And as usual, happy holidays, listeners, and put a code on us. Code out there.
Change your clocks.
Yeah.
Change your clocks. We get to see the sun. Praise that. Praise the sun.
Go
That's a Dark
outside
Souls
after 6 p.m. and enjoy some sun.
Hell yeah.
I've been trapped in a black box for like the past 2 weeks, so it's nice to see the sun pass. It's great. Anyways, listeners, we will see you here next week on another episode in the Fortress of